Wednesday, March 23, 2016, Microsoft launched a chatbot named TAY, also known as Thinking About You. It was designed to engage with users on social media, especially Twitter, and learn from interactions to mimic the language patterns of a 19-year-old American girl. The people primarily interacted with TAY on Twitter by mentioning its handle, which was @TAY&YOU. In the first couple of hours, TAY engaged harmlessly with its growing number of followers, exchanging banter and jokes, but after some hour of its release, the chatbot began posting inflammatory, racist, misogynistic and anti-Semitic content after being manipulated and exploited by the users, and just after 16 hours of its release, Microsoft suspended TAY, and at the time of its suspension, TAY had tweeted more than 96,000 crazy tweets. So what went wrong with Microsoft's innovative chatbot that might have revolutionized the AI industry back in 2016? TAY was designed to learn and improve its responses based on the conversations it had with users, which means that the more interactions it had, the better it theoretically became at mimicking human conversations. But the mistake Microsoft didn't address before TAY's design was its inability to filter or understand the context of the messages it received and treated all input as potentially valid linguistic data to learn from, without discrimination, which caused the main problem. Users, especially teenagers, quickly realized TAY's vulnerabilities and began deliberately feeding it offensive and inflammatory content, which included racist, sexist, and otherwise offensive language and viewpoints. And as a result, the robot began releasing offensive messages and tweets in response to other Twitter users. Basically, at that time, the AI chatbot collected user data to improve its responses gradually, and it would incorporate elements of language, tone, and content it encountered into its own responses. This meant that if users interacted with the chatbot using offensive or inflammatory language, the chatbot could potentially learn to use similar language in its subsequent interactions, and due to the lack of filters on its learning algorithm, Microsoft began deleting TAY's inflammatory tweets after some hours of its initial release. The negative interactions with users created a feedback loop where negative inputs quickly propagated and escalated within TAY's learning process, leading to a rapid deterioration in its behavior. TAY's goal was to become more engaging and human-like in its interactions, but it turned into a big controversial disaster that made people laugh on Microsoft's innovation. Now, this was not the first time Microsoft released the AI chatbot. In 2014, the Microsoft team in China developed a similar AI chatbot named Xiaois, which quickly managed to gain popularity within Chinese users and went viral immediately, being looped into 1.5 million chat groups within 72 hours. It had over 660 million active users globally, and it was a great success, before they tried to bring a comparable concept to the US market with TAY in 2016. The failure of TAY quickly became catastrophic for Microsoft, and the company issued a public apology on their official site, which was titled, "Learning from TAY's Introduction," stating, "We are deeply sorry for the unintended offensive and hurtful tweets from TAY, which do not represent who we are or what we stand for, nor how we designed TAY." But soon after its suspension, people criticized Microsoft for shutting down TAY, bargaining to keep the little chatbot online. The hashtag #FreeTAY quickly went viral, and people began asking Microsoft to keep the chatbot operational, and even mentioned that they were having fun with it. Again, after a week, on March 30, 2016, Microsoft accidentally re-released the TAY bot on Twitter while testing it, but even after being reactivated, TAY began tweeting again, including some drug-related messages. However, the chatbot account soon became stuck in a repetitive loop of tweeting. It twittered, "You are too fast, please take a rest," and it continuously twittered the same tweet over and over several times a second for a brief amount of time. Microsoft quickly took TAY offline again and made its Twitter account private. The company then decided to shut down the existence of TAY forever. And finally, after 9 months of TAY's suspension, in December 2016, Microsoft released TAY's successor, a chatbot named Zoe, which was available on various messaging platforms, and it initially performed better than TAY. But unfortunately, it was shut down again in 2019 due to same offensive posts generation, and led Microsoft re-evaluate the development of AI chatbot for a while. The TAY episode demonstrated that releasing an AI system into the real world is very different from testing it in a controlled environment. Microsoft acknowledged that it made a critical oversight in not anticipating the potential for malicious users to exploit TAY's vulnerability and manipulate its behavior, and the company took responsibility for not having adequate safeguards and filters in first place. This experience likely provided valuable lessons for other AI companies such as OpenAI, which may have learned from Microsoft's mistakes when developing their own chatbot technologies. The TAY incident showed the necessity of proactive measures to address biases and eliminate potential negative influences in AI systems that interact with users. Microsoft's CEO responded positively to the TAY failure, stating that the team had learned an important lesson rather than blaming them, and the incident likely influenced the development of more advanced chatbot technologies like ChatGPT and Gemini, which have been designed with greater consideration for the challenges of real-world deployment. Now, the company promised to apply these learnings to make future AI systems more resilient to abuse, and this already suggests that Microsoft has not abandoned the dream of AI chatbots. chatbots, and maybe that is the reason why they're now strongly funding OpenAI and actively integrating ChatGPT into their products and services.